All right, we are live. We are live with SUPERDRAFT auction quarterfinals. First up, we have Mike versus Frozen. And this set will determine, if we go to the playoffs here, will determine who will face up against Geology Wade. And right after this set, probably cast as Rex, we have TomAquinas versus Szotyesz. And that set will determine who will face Pisty. As we can see here, Pisty and Geology Wade both finished first in their group, which means they will get a bye to the semi-finals. As we can see here, first map is a TomAquinas, and all the other maps will be played eventually afterwards. As I see that Mike has reopened the lobby that they were just in. There is also going to be a 3-minute spec delay. And welcome in, Tom. Good luck with your set very, very soon. And Frozen, I hope you are not listening anymore. And Chipmunk, also welcome in. As I will wait for Frozen to join the lobby again and not... Oh, right as I say that, Frozen joins the lobby. I was about to misclick and join it myself, but let's not do that. But I am looking very, very forward to seeing these games. I think two players who have definitely performed this tournament with some very fun strats to watch. And as I say that, we have started. I will just need to wait 3 minutes for spec delay. 3 minutes because this is streamed live. And I want to see some rushes. Well, Mike with the Mongols, Koreans, Italians, Bohemians, and Tatars. I think definitely Mongols, and to some extent maybe Italians as well, could be used for rushing. As for Frozen, Sicilians could definitely do some fun tower rushing stuff. Or not tower rushing, dungeon rushing, more like that. Berbers, it's definitely been Frozen's pick for Glacis, where he plays a bit more standard. Although we have also seen forward dogs. And I would love to see some Dark Age rushes on Crater. But I think game number 1, TomAquinas, is going to be a bit more relaxed, a bit more standard. And once again, we are in a lobby. We are not starting. Let me quickly double check what is going on, because we have been trying to start the game now for 3 times, I believe. Let's quickly hop into the player chat. And as I say that, once again, a 3-minute spec delay, which we will have to wait and see. I do see the sieves, and I do have to say I like Mike's sieve way more than Frozen's sieve, but I don't think Frozen has a great TomAquinas sieve in general. As we will have to wait 2 more minutes for the game starts. And I will quickly take a sip. Now, I also have to say, I think I would prefer Frozen on some of these maps. I definitely prefer Frozen on Crater and Glacis. I do like Mike a bit more for Pilgrims, Maybe northern crossings as well. And so if my prediction there is correct, then it basically comes down to TomAquinas. So who will win game number 1? Let's see if we can actually get a poll here. As we have... Damn it, I misclicked, I have to type it again. There we go. Alright, I have no idea how this works. I started a poll. I am definitely a pro streamer. But with that being said, it is 30 more seconds until we are over the spec delay. And with that, we will also hop right into game number uno. Spec delay is over, so Capture Age should start as soon as Age of Empires itself says that we are fine. Definitely says we are fine. So here we go. Game number 1. Good luck, have fun in chat from Mike. As we have Mike playing in the red as the Bohemians. And then in the blue, of course, we have Frozen Hot Pepper Pizza playing as the Shoe. And Mike says at least it worked this time. So it looks like they had some troubles setting up the game. As Mike barely misses a cow. There are some cows chilling about around the map here and there. Also some birds flying, which will give Gaia vision in the long term. But so far, very standard opening. 6 on food for both players, as Mike already brings in his first wild boar. So resources should be looking a bit better for him in terms of resources collected in the short run. But of course, will even out a bit more once Frozen gets his boar. And Mike saying, I'm certainly not complaining about this matchup. And I definitely think Mike has the better Civ here for the map. But could also be maybe a bit overconfident here, as Frozen chooses to make his lumber camp in the Defend the Wonder area here. And will send villagers out one by one. While Mike is choosing to just make the lumber camp in his starting area here. No Vil presence here in the Wonder area. Now, if players lose this Wonder, they will be defeated and cannot continue the game, so they will lose. So it is essential that this Wonder is defended. And I think for Mike, maybe it can be barely ranged here from a trap with some hill bonus. For Frozen, I think it's a bit too far. But I think this would be the more logical area of attack. Now this is unbuildable terrain, so there can be no castles, TCs, towers built there whatsoever. As certain players in previous versions of this map would just douche the wall, Vil rush it down, and then Vil rush the Wonder while the other person would do nothing about it. As we have 4 villagers for Mike, and I assume that is for a mill for the deer. As these deer, there are 8 of them, which will provide Mike with roughly 1000 food with some decay. And Shu feels definitely weird, but Shu having the traction traps could maybe just build like 3 or 4 siege workshops and then go from there. Just get those traps rolling. But of course, Bohemians getting to research chemistry in the Castle Age, could research on the way up to Imperial Age and get bombard cannons out immediately. As both players now have a mill in the Defend the Wonder area. But Frozen's villagers just chilling. And so far Mike ahead by roughly 50 resources, so not too much. Frozen a bit more idle TC time, and as I say that, we saw 1 second of Mike idle TC time there. Not the worst, not the worst, and Mike is bringing in some more sheep to his TC. Still has just 2 villagers under his TC working on the cows. As Mike will make more houses, making sure to not get housed, looking like FC from both players, as Frozen is still working away at his final boar. And sending in some more villagers to deal with the deer. As Frozen, just 3 villagers. Oh, this is actually a lumberjack, not a deer villager. I would have expected 4 villagers here and 4 villagers here as well. As we now see Mike 7 on wood. Maybe a bit too much, but eventually maybe wants to go for a mill on the berries here as well. As we see Mike, 4 villagers in queue. And for Frozen, it is 3 villagers in queue. So both players, as long as they don't get housed, which they won't, definitely keeping that TC running. And more villagers here for Frozen on the wood line, now 6 in total. As Mike still working away on those starting deer. Mike also going out for a mining camp here. And I have to say, it always feels weird to where do we place mining camps here. Like ideally you want it on this side, but there is a wall blocking and also might be a bit too exposed maybe. As Frozen clicks up 22 villagers, so 23 pop total, feels relatively fast here. There's not that much food to work with, but Frozen will go for a mining camp here. So could be thinking about towers as well, as he is scouting, sees where Mike's Defend the Wonder area is. And Mike up to Feudal Age as well, has 2 villagers in queue. So definitely looking to fast castle here with 16 on food. Feels very reasonable. 2 on food, and Mike clicked up with loom. And Frozen clicked up with loom as well. Frozen making some more houses, making them nice in a defensive wall here. So even if the first layer of walls gets breached, we'll have some layer of defense there. And Mike more houses as well. As Frozen reaches the Feudal Age. And what will Frozen do? We'll send villagers to chop wood. And no buildings coming up just yet. I would have expected a blacksmith and a market. But Frozen so far not. There is the market. And Mike reaches the Feudal Age here. And for Mike it is going to be a market as well. And we'll slap down a blacksmith over here. And Frozen's blacksmith is coming up behind the Wonder. Maybe blocking some of that stone. But not the worst, as we can always mine on the other side as well. And Frozen idling a bit. As nothing in queue is abusing the market a bit. Does not have the rest to click up. Ooh, this feels bad for Frozen here. Needs to force drop the wood to sell it, to get the resources, and clicks up to Castle Age first. Behind this, Mike has his buildings, is also lacking a bit of food, but could also just use the markets or just force drop apparently, as Mike clicks up, not too far behind Frozen. And now the thing becomes Frozen has 0 on food, so very, very heavy on stone for Frozen with 11 villagers here. And Mike getting the eco upgrade, so it looks like it's going to be very aggressive for Frozen. Now for the Castle Age unique unit out of the castle from Frozen, it is going to be the White Feather Guard. And unfortunately for Frozen, it is an infantry unit. And Mike could defend this with chemistry hand cannoneers in the castle age already. Although, of course, as Mike also went out for a barracks at the top, is fishing here. Frozen has nothing yet. And Mike also took some of the foxes here. As we can see, the foxes, the red foxes, you can skin them alive and sell their pelts. And that is what gives the gold, as Frozen runs forward. And Frozen does see Mike's scout, and Mike's scout actually sees this. The real question is, will Mike see this? Will Mike react to it? As Frozen reaches the castle age, Frozen definitely saw Mike's scout. And Mike, who is also very heavy on stone here. Remember, Mike gets the mining camp upgrades for free in each age. So as we can see, as both gold shaft mining and stone shaft mining, so both shafts, as Dave would say, for Mike. And we have a defensive siege workshop here for Mike. And Mike, going for a university, is going for double archery range. So we'll need to smack down some farms. And welcome in, Zark. I'm here. Let's go Frozen hot pepper pizza. We do not root for liars around here. As Frozen smacks down a lumber camp, and Mike will place a defensive castle here. Also already chemistry for Mike. And with that, I think this push from Frozen will be stopped dead in its tracks. Frozen did spot the castle from Mike, and Mike does not see that Frozen has a very forward castle position. Now with this very forward position from Frozen and the castle, would love to see a monastery in the middle to pick up these 3 relics. Could eventually also bring in the relic at home. And here we see Mike's villager dodging a lot of castle fire actually. Will she live? The villager will live? That is wild. Would not have expected that, but this villager, who has still 7 stone in her hands, will live. Behind all of this, Mike's eco 34, Frozen's eco is not looking too great. But 7 villagers on the berries here for Frozen, which will keep his, at least his TC running. But we can see Frozen really using that market quite a bit here. As there is battering rams now as well, Mike will need, and Mike does see that there is a siege workshop, so Mike will definitely need to add in 1 mangonel at least to deal with battering rams. So we can see Mike dropping a lumber camp, and it's really nice for Mike that he can just keep the villagers here, potentially repair the castle, potentially deal with repairing the wonder as well if it comes to that. And Frozen's scout will also dodge, but will also reveal to Frozen that Mike already has chemistry in. And now there is 1 mangonel on the way for Mike. And Frozen idling his TC is definitely one of the one of the things that we see Frozen do quite a bit, but definitely works out for Frozen quite a few times in this tournament. We had some games here where Frozen just 3 stable knights, 3 stable camels, all in, no more villagers, and just full sending it, so much military, doing so much damage, causing so much idle time, and we see fortified wall coming in for Mike as well. As Mike hopping out with a siege tower. And siege towers will not work. Mike, it is not a taxi anymore. Although they still have 10 pop space as the first ram hits. Fortified wall completes. Now Mike does not have architecture just yet, but the rams are forced away with the mangonel around. And the white feather guards, as you can see, they take quite a bit of damage here from the hand cannoneers. And Mike's eco looking quite solid, has smacked down 5 farms. Is also still at the top, just fishing. Does not need to worry about that too much. And Frozen could maybe be in danger here. Because if these hand cannoneers from Mike would be dropped into Frozen's starting area, he has nothing to defend there. But this could also, of course, be a sign for Frozen, who has built a second siege workshop. And we will have to keep an eye on not the Hussite wagon, but on the siege tower, who has 3 hand cannoneers. 3 hand cannoneers in front. And will we see them be dropped in the wonder area? Will we be in the main area? As there are now rams starting to ram down Mike's starting area. And Mike realizes just stone walls behind, could maybe send over 1 mangonel. Has some rams here in defense as well. And hand cannoneers are in. The villagers will go down. And that will be at least 6 villagers down. Not too much eco here for Frozen. But eventually, one day, they will shoot down the Wonder with their bullets. As Mike has held in his starting area. More mangonels out here for Frozen. And as we can see, Wonder is being attacked, and there is also a few hand cannoneers here. So Mike really putting on the pressure on Frozen. Technically the hand cannoneer here could be arranged by the TC, and Mike will eventually loop around, find all the villagers on the gold. And it is looking very, very solid here in game 1 for Mike. As I realize that, I also noticed that it says best of 3 group stage. It is not a best of 3 and it is not group stage. It is a best of 5. And Mike will need to defend here. There is petards out as well. More walls coming up. Mangonels shooting mangonels, and one of the mangonels from Mike goes down, and this could be very, very difficult for Mike to defend. Will need more mangonels, has the resources for it, is choosing to go for walls instead. As the white feather guards here are pushing, mangonel is coming out, will need to be dealt with, or the ram needs to be dealt with. Ram will not be dealt with. Rams are through. Mike needs to repair. Has 1 villager in the castle. There is 9 feather guards here, and suddenly this is looking terrible for Mike. Frozen's Wonder is halfway down, but can Mike defend here? Mike will need to repair his Wonder. Yes, there is still a hole, and with the hand cannoneers here, could maybe defend. This is very, very close. And Mike opts to go for the ram first. As the ram goes down, Mike defends over here. The wall here goes down eventually. And Frozen calls the GG as Mike pulls on. Mike holds on, pulls through, and wins game number 1. And as the Bohemians versus the Shu. And at the beginning of the match, Mike already said it. I like this matchup, and Mike definitely, I think, with a Sif win here. So we look at the stats, and I will quickly change. And it is a best of 3, it is a best of 5, and this is the playoffs. And it is nice to see that Mike uses the siege tower, this dude, for its intended purposes. To just hop things over walls instead of it being a taxi for units to hop in, hop out, shoot, and hop right back in. And with that, let's see. I don't see a game number 2. Do I not see a game number 2? I do not see a game number 2. So maybe a short break. Oh, never mind. There is a lobby now. So let me manage the poll. Let's see. And as we wait for the second game, I will quickly run an ad. So anyone who is not subscribed will unfortunately see an ad, but that also means that during the game we won't have ads. And with that, I think TomAquinas and Szotyesz have also started their sets. However, we will go to that after this one. But I will quickly see if I can find the map draft for that. So I don't need to scramble for that later. As both players are in the lobby, it is still 3 minutes spec delay. As we go to the map draft, and there is no map selected yet. It still says TomAquinas, which of course cannot happen because that was the map that was played on game number 1. And the map is going to be... Will we see another map? Apparently not. It's both players still in the lobby, still waiting. And the worst part about this is that once they start, there's still a 3-minute spec delay. And I think Frozen might be overthinking maybe what map Civ combo he wants to play next. Now, having played the shoe, I think Frozen's favorite map this tournament would be Crater. And we have seen both the Sicilians, both the Georgians there. Mike loves his Georgians. So Mike definitely knows how to play them. Will Mike know how to counter them? As there will be definitely some Georgian action from Frozen, I assume. From Mike, I would love the Mongols. But I could also see maybe the Koreans. Although I think the Koreans would work better on other maps for Mike. And with the amount of I-backs, I think Mongols and might be the best pick here for Mike. As it is indeed going to be Crater. But we will need to wait until the players actually start the game. At this point, I am not sure what we're waiting for. It's 5 minutes ago the lobby has been opened. And as I say that, game has started. And it is indeed going to be the Mongols versus the Georgians. Now, like I said, we still need to wait 3 more minutes because of spec delay. So there can be a zero stream sniping opportunities. And what Civ will chat favor here? Will it be the Georgians for frozen hot pepper pizza, or will it be the Mongols for Mike? Let me also quickly add this. Right, 2 more minutes and we're in. And I definitely hope that for the next games, the players will be a bit faster with starting the games after another, but of course also no rush. And afterwards we will also cast Szotyesz versus TomAquinas. But those will be cast as Rex, as they have started roughly 10 minutes ago. The draft is there. Could maybe go over the draft between games after this game. Up next, we have Crater, Frozen Hot Pepper Pizza's favorite map this tournament, I assume. And it is going to be Mongols versus Georgians. So both Step Lancer civs. Both civs with a hunting bonus. And I am not sure which civ I would prefer here. I think Mongols could definitely have a very solid uptime. And could make use of that. A very fast uptime. But the Georgians could definitely work out as well. But with that being said, the spec delay is over. We are waiting for Capture H to do its thing. And I don't know, I like the Mongols better. I'm not sure if the Georgians would be the better option here. But let's hop into the game. Like I said, Frozen in the blue, playing as the Georgians, and Mike playing in the red as the Mongols. And all Mike's sheep are back here as well, right next to the Ibex. And for Frozen, his sheeps are a bit more forward, and Mike is already immediately going forward. Finds 3 sheeps here, so very solid. Is he going for the boar? He is. And Frozen say, "Oi, that's mine." And I don't think Frozen realizes that it's... Maybe he does realize that the boar is already gone. Mike will shoot the boar with the Vil. And then can start blocking with the scout. So great here for Mike. Great opening. Great palisade trick here. Would love to do that myself, but I am only good enough to do that with houses. All of this without loom. Mike is being blocked by his sheep. Will need to be careful. Will also need to be... Oh, his boar is back, so very safe boar for Mike. Map hacks for Mike. And Frozen is already down 3 sheep and a boar. And Mike is now... He did see his 1 sheep here. We'll see his... all his sheep there. He's also going to bring in his boar. So double boar for Mike. And is going out for a lumber camp over here, I assume. As the TC will shoot the boar just fine. And this boar already eaten so fast. Mike just brings all of his sheep. And Frozen now realizes, you got my boar as well, didn't you? And Mike, like I said, in a very solid position, very solid lane here, is pushing in his Ibex. We'll have 4 villagers over here on the wood line. And no response for Mike. Mike too busy just keeping his production rolling. His building. Mike saying yum yum yum. Hearts. So definitely some friendly banter here between the players. Love to see it. As Mike pushed in his Ibex, and Frozen say that's definitely one way to win this, but you'll have to finish it. I love the fighting spirit here from Frozen, who is not going down that easy. Mike is a bit behind, did idle a bit more than Frozen, and Mike says respectable. I am a pro at throwing. And we've definitely seen Mike throw some games. We've also seen Mike come back from games where he was quite far behind, as Mike will build his mill over on the berries. And for Frozen, it is on top with all the Ibex. And on this map, with 3 sheep and the boar, unthrowable. But I don't think that Frozen knows Mike. Mike has definitely thrown games that are in a better position here. Mike also going on to gold. Will this be militia? As Mike says, you underestimate my power. And Frozen says also, what's with pathing? My vills keep going idle, and we've definitely seen that both this game and the previous game. From both players, I might add. That is not just a Frozen thing, that is a Mike thing as well. So it might be the new patch. As these villagers will keep collecting Ibex. Mike will click up at 21 pop, 20 villagers. And Frozen, with 1 minute of idle TC already, is going for loom and is nowhere near clicking up. And Frozen, if you throw this one, I will buy you 2 beers. Now, if this was against me, this would be just I would instantly resign. I would instantly resign. And Zark says it is a known bug from the new patch. Thanks for letting us know. As Mike's scout dies, Frozen trying to distract Mike with the chatting. First blood, I win. So Frozen definitely in a good position here with the military advantage. But Frozen is nowhere near clicking up, and Mike did a really solid job with the lame here. As Frozen did see where the Ibexes were, did not see Mike's woodline. But I do think that if Mike loses this game, he will never hear the end of it. As we have one militia coming out. Second one out as well. So these two dudes will start moving forward. Will we see the man-at-arms upgrade as well? Remember, there's one villager here on gold, so resources will be there. Loom will be researched as well. Frozen still not clicked, still making villagers. That is definitely the correct call here. And will eventually get there. But man-at-arms comes in for Mike. Also double bit coming in for Mike. And it looks like these dudes are just shift clicked, so Mike does not have to worry about it. Very solid. And they will now group up. As Horse Collar comes in as well, Mike really making use of all that extra food. Now the thing is that you don't want to over invest in things. So Mike just 3 man-at-arms. Frozen has clicked up 24 villagers. Usually we see that for fast castle timings. For Frozen it is going to be his feudal into defense timing, as the 3 men-at-arms will know where to hit. Because Mike's scout died there. We'll see the villagers. Will they take the... They will take the fight, but they will be fighting uphill, so that's a good fight for Frozen, especially with 13 villagers around. But men-at-arms running away, just distracting Frozen's food eco, and Frozen says, "Fight, you coward." And Mike says, "Alright, I will take a swing," especially at the weak one in the front. And Mike saying, "You will never get this." And the Weakville still running forward with all of his friends. And I think this is definitely an overcommitment from Frozen, who has made a barracks at home. Could potentially just start to Vil rush Mike's woodline eventually. As Frozen finally reaches the feudal age. Mike, 1 villager on stone. So we could start seeing some towers, both defensively in his woodline or offensively on Frozen's woodline. As the man-at-arms is still running around. Frozen with the market and a mining camp on the gold with 13 villagers. So might want to start selling some stuff. Also, there is a stable for Frozen and there is nothing else from Mike coming out. Now Mike is just maybe a bit too overconfident here. Has not made a stable, has not made a blacksmith, is making a tower here on his gold. Love to see that. And Mike will see the stable and instantly add in at least 1 spearman. And behind this, 10 farms from Mike. Also still has 1 ibex left. I believe that is the last one. Tower coming up on the woodline. Would love to see the woodline walled off as well. As 1 scout goes down from Frozen. That might be a bit sloppy. You don't want to lose the scouts to the men-at-arms here. As Mike is just taking down the males from Frozen, who still has some ibex meat left to take. Also is on gold, very far away from his base. The Vil count is actually even, so great job from Frozen to just keep his TC running. But behind all of this, Mike's eco, looking very close to clicking up to the castle age, is lacking some gold. But I think could just send some new villagers out to gold and will get there relatively fast. As Frozen currently housed, will need to build a house. And the men-at-arms have shifted from the mill onto the stable here. So the stable will eventually go down. 3 scouts might not be enough unless... Oh, never mind. 3 scouts definitely enough. Low HP men-at-arms. 4th scout will be joining their friends. And now it's time from Frozen to be on the offensive here. Or not. Frozen, chilling at home. And behind all of this, Mike clicks up to the castle age. 3, 2, 1, on cue, and click up. Or just make a blacksmith because you missed the second building. You also missed the first building to click up. Mike, what are we doing? What are we doing? This is what I said. Mike in a very solid position, but maybe a bit too overconfident. And will finally add in the range, adds in the blacksmith, and will click up after this villager, I assume, once both buildings are up. And Frozen, still at home, is missing both the eco upgrades, but has a very solid farming eco, 16 farms. Compare that to the 13 farms from Mike, but Mike has clicked up. Mike also walled up his wood line very nicely here. And Frozen will definitely start to catch up in terms of eco, as his TC will produce villagers, while Mike is not producing villagers because he is clicking up to the castle age. Now the archery range, triple archery range might be a bit too much here for Mike. He might need to switch over some villagers to wood if he wants to keep them running. He's also making more houses. Love to see that he is making the houses defensively in like a circle around the forward stone. And Frozen behind all of this clicks up as well, so is not too far behind from Mike. And with a comparative eco. And Frozen is going for stables. And it is definitely going to be step lancers. Now Mike does see that there is scouts out and about from Frozen. Don't think that Mike realizes how close Frozen is to the castle age himself. As Frozen is going for bloodlines, will make his scouts and steppies in the next age, because I assume it is going to be step lancers from Frozen, who is now also building a blacksmith and more houses as well. And Mike reaches the castle age, and I assume it will be Botkin and triple stable Cav archers. Now I like the Cav archers, since Cav archers can range over any potential walls here. But for Frozen, does not see where Mike's woodline is, but I think he assumes it is right over here. Mike going for a university as well, and only has 1 Cav archer in the queue. Never mind, now it's 3. But like I said, maybe a bit too heavy on the food eco here. And I would love to see maybe a knight or 2. And Frozen says 30 seconds more, and I think I'd have a chance. And I think Frozen definitely still has a chance. Frozen is definitely not out of this game here. As Frozen goes for his step lancers. Gets the first armor. And Mike going for husbandry. No ballistics just yet. Will have the wood, but not the gold for it. And since Mike does not have a market, cannot sell any of his other resources to get it. Second armor as well on the way for Frozen. And with that, I think the Cav archers might start to struggle as well. I think maybe the leather archer armor might be a bit too much here for Mike. Who is starting to wall off here. Very nice walls. Might be a hole somewhere still. Because it is still Age of Empires. And there is always a hole. As we also see a camel coming out. And the camel will deal with the scout cavalry here. But at home, Frozen is messing up his step lancers. And is using the market quite heavily for that. Mike opens up the gate for the scouts and will need to... That is terrible for Mike. Mike needs to just hop in. Mike needs to bring over his camel. Where is Mike's camel? Why is his camel forward? Scouts are dealt with in his woodline, so can resume with the cav archers. As there is one camel from Mike in the woodline. Scout from Frozen dies. 5 cav archers on the field. No, that is not true. There is more. 4 cav archers coming forward. Frozen step lancers are coming forward as well. Mike needs to... Mike stonewalls behind all of this. That is very nice from Mike. Mike needs some stonewalls here as well. As the tower will not do a lot here. And Frozen will immediately just go for the house. Mike needs to micro over here. Mike is also going forward. Will find the villagers on the gold. And Mike is not reacting over here. Mike is reacting. Is not repairing though. Mike not repairing might throw here. As Frozen is in on the wood line. Mike reacts finally. And Mike will kill some of Frozen's villagers over here. Frozen will send on some step lancers. Step lancers though will kill Mike's wood line. And Mike going for cav archers. Against Frozen's step lancers. Might not have been the best play here. But with the spears involved. Will kill some of these step lancers. Brings home the other cav archers. And Mike now switches over to knights. I think the better play. As Mike has 23 villagers on gold. But Frozen with the villager lead. And that is with 3 more minutes of idle TC time. And Mike will send some of his gold villagers here back to the wood line. There is still a hole here. And Mike, having ballistics, will definitely hit a lot of these step lancers as they run around. Goes to the gold once again. Some weak vills over there still from Frozen. But will need to deal with the cav arch or with the step lancers as well, as the cav archers need to run away. And Mike reclaims the villager lead here. As the step lancers are forced to run away, 2 little numbers, but more step lancers from Frozen. As Frozen throws one more away, loses more villagers. But with these numbers of step lancers, Mike definitely needs to run away. And with husbandry on the way, will catch up with the cav archers way easy. And Mike, more cav archers on the way. His knights just chilling at home. Will need to send his army to regroup. But behind all of this, Mike has taken a very nice eco lead, a very nice military lead, and Frozen calling the GG well played. So Mike takes game number 2 after a very solid few opening minutes with laming 3 sheep and a boar as well. So GG well play, and I definitely would have thought that Mike would open for step lancers himself, but still makes it happen with the cav archers. We can quickly go over the statistics. And I definitely think Mike was a little bit too overconfident, especially early feudal age with just the 3 men-at-arms, not even adding in his second or even first building, not even making a stable or an archery range. As we can see that Frozen and Mike definitely have similar APMs. And I have to say, it is a very similar matchup in terms of how they are matched up. And we have Mike in the lobby, and I will be right back as I will take a very, very short break between this game and the next one. Alright, we are back and the game has started. It is going to be a northern crossing, but we are waiting on a bit of spec delay. But it is going to be Sicilians for frozen hot pepper pizza. And it is going to be Italians for Mike. And Frozen picking his home map. They are playing this, I think, relatively standard. Although we have seen Mike coming forward with forward ranges as well. So let's see what will happen here. In the meantime, I have not had a wreck from either Szotyesz or TomAquinas, so I assume that they are still in game number 1. We can quickly check. Yes, we have a game that has started 12 minutes ago. And we will figure out what's going on over there after this set. And I might have to spoil myself for the first few games if the wrecks are not shared with me. But with that being said, spec delay is over. Let's not focus on the other set. Let's focus on the one that we are casting right now, which is Frozen Hot Pepper Pizza versus Mike. Game number 3. Can Mike, playing as the red as the Italians, beat Frozen Hot Pepper Pizza 3-0? Frozen playing as the Sicilians. Not a big fan of water maps, but could perhaps make stuff happen on land. And we've seen Mike do this quite a few times where he goes for the boar early. So Mike, 4 villagers, 5 villagers now. He will shoot the boar. And then we'll send over the next one onto wood. As Frozen has 6 on food as well. We'll now start sending villagers over to wood as well. But has not taken any of his boars yet. Has also not moved his transport ship just yet. And Mike is doing a loop-de-loop starting around his own island. I like to see that. Definitely because this early on, scouting around your opponent's waterline, you will not find a dock since there's just no resources for it just yet. But I could also see a world where Frozen just opts to completely ignore water. As we have 0 movement from the transport ship from Frozen. And Mike's score definitely quite a bit ahead. And that is definitely because of the scouting on water here. As we can see, Mike is doing a nice loop-de-loop around. He's also pushing in deer from behind the wood line. Very nice. But Mike definitely needs to queue up some more villagers as idle time is racking up for him. Has already had 1 villager of idle TC time. As Frozen still has villagers in the queue, is now sending out 1 villager over to the shorefish. Has already finished collecting 10 resources, and Frozen not really there with the resources to build a dock just yet. Has only 3 villagers on wood. That is definitely not enough if you want to keep your dock running or if you want to get your dock up even. As Mike now makes his dock with 5 villagers on wood, and that is definitely a better number to have on wood if you want to make fishing ships as well. But for Frozen, currently added in a few more villagers on wood, has 2 villagers here on the shoreline making a dock. As he has brought in his first boar. Mike making a few more houses, and with the Italians having the cheaper dock and cheaper fishing ships. Not cheaper dock technologies. So definitely in favor there for Mike to win water. But we don't even see Frozen really going for fishing ships just yet. Maybe he will add them later. But if he does not, then Mike is definitely going to start to pull ahead in terms of eco, as Mike is already starting to push out his second fishing ship. And speaking about pushing, Mike did push 2 of his deer. We'll find some more of his sheep. We'll need to start to put these villagers over here back to work. But we can already see that the rest collected is starting to pull ahead in favor of Mike with almost 300 resources more collected. As Frozen has idled his TC a bit more as well, and finally Frozen moved his transport ship. Did go to the middle. Now there is some wildlife here, so needs to be careful with the villagers. Villagers unloomed, but 3 of them, especially with a scout around as well, can definitely take care of any wildlife. And Frozen will go for a mining camp in the middle. And this is definitely, I definitely have not seen this strategy yet, but could definitely see something. These villagers will be relatively safe, will be collecting stone. I assume that is for dungeons. And once again, it is going to be a forward dock as well from Mike, and I'm not sure if I like the fact that Mike has docks in 2 different places here. We saw this on, I think, the last set that Mike played, where Mike's opponent just had the docks right here, and they were just so much faster to the reinforcement that Mike just lost water purely because all his fish or all his war galleys needed to just loop around all the way this way, and it just took too long, even though he on screen had the better numbers. And first dungeon up here for Frozen, who is 23 villagers, 1 fishing ship, and no loom, but the villager will hop in the transport ship, and Mike will definitely know something is up. Mike reaches the feudal age, is going over to gold, maybe a bit late, no loom, so could produce 2 warships, depending on which warships he will make. But his resources looking very solid for Castle Age as well. And we will see 1 Hulk in the queue, maybe a second one as well, as Frozen is dungeoning the middle island here. Now dungeons can be built in the Dark Age, but will not fire arrows until you reach the feudal age. And Mike stonewalling here. This is already walled off. Could potentially stonewall here as well. Like that Mike is going to stone himself. But Mike really needs to figure out what is going on. And we'll see a dungeon in the middle. And Frozen Scout just roaming around, trying to figure out what if there is any more wildlife. There is not, as we can see. And with these 2 dungeons, these villagers in the middle will definitely be safe. Frozen adding in a few more fishing ships. Mike can definitely just move forward. Mike has scouted there as a dock in the back from Frozen. Mike getting loom and will see the blacksmith. Frozen will go for, I assume, a market blacksmith to try to go to the castle age. As Mike is making a market of his own. I would love to see the walls here finished. Like, these walls in the back are nice, but still very open to an attack. Maybe even just an outpost here could be very nice from Mike, as Frozen is making more dungeons and is going for fletching. So Mike will definitely be attacked over there once fletching is in. And Mike currently just having a Hulk here, having the transport ship on the other side on both of the crossings. But Frozen is definitely wise to the game and just used transport to get to the middle, so is definitely not too worried about it and can just use his transport ship to just hop over right into Mike's eco if he chooses so. But Mike has clicked up to the castle age, has not invested too much on water, just one Hulk. Now is going for a demo. Mike selling some stone. And Mike will get fishing lines. I'm surprised that Mike is just not attacking Frozen on water. And double demo rafts. As more villagers will hop in the transport here for Frozen. Who is quite far away from Castle H, is not on gold yet, and as I say, that mining camp goes up on the gold. But Italians here with the cheap upgrade to the next age, definitely in a solid position. And 2 demos in the dock. The villagers from Frozen over here on gold as well. And Frozen looking quite solid to click up as well relatively soon, as he is dropping some farms. No eco upgrades for Frozen, and Mike also no eco upgrades except for double bits. But also no farms from Mike, so not having horse collar does not hurt as much. And Mike chooses to add in another TC right on the Ibex. I love to see that. Also very solid in terms of gold position. And of course wood. But Mike might need to start thinking about something against these dungeons in the middle. And I would have assumed that Frozen would have done a little more in terms of trying to get up faster, and then just having a million villagers here building a Sicilian castle, which goes up so fast already. And I will quickly ping the other players from the Szotyesz TomAquinas set to not forget about the Rex. As Mike will move the villager, will make another dock, is going for medium warships, but still has not moved out. Like Mike, very light water aggression here. And Frozen clicks up to the Castle Age himself. Mike, 2 TCs. Keeping them rolling quite smoothly, I might add. And 1 fire ship on the way. Archery range on the way as well. We do have Mike's scout over here, but no forward buildings. I think Mike is a bit confused about what is going on in the middle. And we do see forging on the way. We do see skill mill armor on the way. As Mike's fire ship will deal with Frozen's transport ship. Will not deal with the dock. And Frozen will need another transport. Will have it though. Will have the resources for it at least. And could definitely just use these villagers here to transport over and make a castle. Could also just make a few sergeants out of all of these dungeons and start to dungeon rush Mike, who has, in terms of defense, not a lot going on at home, but he has pushed Frozen off of gold. Frozen will make a few houses because he is housed. As he is making the sergeants, he's making them at home in defense. Probably to deal with the crossbow. Botkin on the way. Mike, 11 eco lead as Frozen reaches the castle age and is roughly 1000 resources ahead in terms of resources collected. Very fast step on the university will be deleted as the crossbows are there. University will go up. And Mike, more ranges at home, also going for a monastery. As the crossbows here are currently just chilling and denying a woodline. Scout is observing the creation of a new woodline as the sergeants from Frozen will kill Mike's starting scouts. Mike did get a heavy demo ship here. So 2 heavy demos, 2 demolition ships, not demolition rafts, demolition ships are chilling in the dock for Mike, who is adding in his 3rd TC on another gold. And has walled up here, so very solid, nice walls here. Of course, the back is still open for Mike, so it could be raided there. Mike going for a 4th TC as well. Not sure if Mike has the food eco for that, although he did pick up horse collar, so could start adding in more farms as he did on the TC over there. Mike will see the sergeants here. Does not manage to snipe the fishing ship. 2 HP left. And the sergeants will chill at home for now. And welcome in, John. And it is definitely a lot of dungeons here with Botkin now. And Frozen really making use of the Sicilian dungeons here, as Mike not sure where he can push right now. Especially since he only has a few crossbows here forward. Could of course always just send the crossbows he has at home. But with Mike seeing that there is at least 5 dungeons, not knowing that the 6th one is there, could maybe expect some form of sergeant rush, as Mike is expanding his dock to both the left and the right side, keeping his fish definitely a bit more efficient, as Town Watch is coming in as well. And I love to see that Mike will see a bit more of what is going on the sides. But so far from Mike, very solid boom game. Mike also adding in some cav archers now. I think that was a misclick, as Mike unqueues them and adds in a few more crossbow instead. Mike's transport ship still chilling at the crossing. So Mike will try to loop around over to the left side. We'll bring some villagers as well, as we see an outpost placed here. And over here, the crossbows are just standing around, just waiting for Frozen to eventually go over and take the stone. Yes, one fire has dealt with at least the dock in the back for Frozen. And eventually for Mike, this dock will go down by the dungeons and his demos will eject. So I would love for the demos to at least be on the crossing, to prevent them from just going down for nothing, as Mike realizes I do not see any water from Frozen. I have taken out a dock without anything, and I will queue up more and more fishing ships. And Mike also clicked up to the Imperial Age. Frozen though, not too far behind. Although Mike is definitely ahead in terms of eco. And Mike just ignores the tower or the dungeon and just dives with the crossbow, as there is one outpost here. Although I think with all the sergeants and the sergeants being relatively good against ranged units, as we can see that a sergeant has 2+1 pierce armor. And more dungeons here. All the archers go down. Frozen also did get ballistics, so all these arrows will hit, and Mike's archer armor just vanishes like nothing. Mike will get bad at archer armor, also getting ballistics. And the outpost here from Mike was taken down, is now going for a siege workshop. What would love to see some forward buildings here from Mike, as the demos are ejected. But demos, they just are not what they used to be in terms of health. Also not in terms of explosions. Love to see that the demo now is over here. And demo will be patrolling the crossing as the sergeants will return home from Frozen. Mike instantly going for chemistry. I love to see that. Frozen does not see that there is a siege workshop forward for Mike. Also, heavy warships on the way, and I think once heavy warships is in, or not one heavy warships is in, when chemistry is in, we can see some cannon galleons to deal with the dungeons in the middle. But Frozen has taken a lot of the rest in the middle. There is 2,000 stone and 5,000 gold still left, so still definitely something you would want to collect. Now also going for a castle in the middle, very solid. Castle for Mike here on the side on the exposed gold. Nothing yet out of the siege workshop. And Mike also idling his TC, or his TCs. All of them are idle currently, as I say that he's queuing more. Now also a stable for Mike. And the monk will spot both the stable and the siege workshop. As the Hulk is upgraded to a Carrack. And more dogs on the sides for Mike as well. Iron casting coming in to make the sergeants a bit stronger. Still only 1 TC from Frozen though. As ARP is coming in for Mike, also careening. And Frozen with the very solid middle control, but I'm not sure what Frozen has achieved by just having the middle. 17 sergeants in his base, 18 on the field. And I think Mike, getting elite cannon galleon in one of his back dogs, can start pushing back the middle here. And Frozen does not really have a lot to defend from Mike's water presence here, as there is more cannon galleons on the way. Now elite. Although Frozen will get chemistry, Frozen will get bracer. So Mike will need to be careful that these ships are not in range of the dungeons. As Mike slowly but surely is taking out the dungeons here. Still not really out of the siege workshop or the stable, just chilling. Siphons now coming in, so his fire, and yes, that is a singular fire. Was it a singular fire? There are now 4 fires on the way. 1 was in the back. Will now have a charge attack that will deal a bit more of explosive damage. Fast fires for Mike. But I think Mike should just focus on a few more cannon galleons to help with the push. Fires will not really do a lot, as we have an engagement between the ARPs and the sergeants, but it looks like the ARPs are in no problems at all. Sergeants go down. We will even see the new Italian tech, I believe, which is Pyrotechnica, which will make hand cannoneers deal pass-through damage and make them more accurate. And Frozen calls the GG. Could not make it happen on the Northern Crossings either, and Mike goes on to the semi-finals here. As Mike took a commanding lead in both Game 2 and Game 3 here. Frozen will unfortunately be out of the tournament. And well played to both players. So I will quickly fill out the form. As Mike played the Italians here versus the Sicilians from Frozen Hot Pepper Pizza. And if everything worked correctly, we should see that reflected here as well. Otherwise, I will be very angry at John Perkins. And it looks like I need to be very angry at John Perkins. Who was in chat earlier? John, fix your sheets. With that being said, looks like the games were sent to John Perkins instead of to me. So I do have the TomAquinas versus Szotyesz games number 1 and 2. So we will continue with that. And here we can see a box appearing. So looks like John is working on the sheet. Thanks, John. But since we are already quite far into the other set, let's switch over. And these will be cast as Rex. But that does not mean that there is any less of a hype going on here, as we have Pilgrims in game number 1, and I will need to add these files to the correct folder. And because they are Rex, I also need to exit the current game. But congratulations to Mike, who will be facing, as we now see the sheet being filled out by John in real time. Mike will be facing Geology Wade in the semifinals. But for now we have Szotyesz versus TomAquinas, and the winner of that set will face Pisti in the semifinals as well. Let's see if Capture H can find the replays here, at least the replays that I want. As we have Pilgrims in game number 1 for TomAquinas versus Szotyesz. And it is definitely a British Civil War semifinals. Should also be relatively easy scheduling wise in that case. At least in terms of time zones. This is the wrong scene. I need to go to Capture H instead of the actual game. As we have Szotyesz playing in the green as the Vikings. Leaves 4 villagers on his starting island, 1 on the dock. And for TomAquinas playing as the Huns, leaves 4 villagers as well. Needs to chop a bit more wood to get to his dock before he can place his TC. And both players are going to be relatively close to each other, especially with how little resources there are over here. Tom will have a solid TC position. Maybe not as solid as Szotyesz as the Vikings, who is on stone, has a relatively close vault nearby. For Tom, could always expand towards the back. And Tom is scouting with his transport ship. Tom has his dock up, has one villager on food, so does Szotyesz. 3 villagers on wood for both players. And Tom being up a bit later, a bit unfortunate in terms of not finding a wood line here, not having a lot of wood here. Choosing to dock in or choosing to hop off in that position there. But of course Tom has the hunting horse. Did spot a boar earlier, so is going out for that one immediately. And I think Tom might not realize how close Szotyesz actually is. And will need to be careful here. Might find the TC. Will find the TC. And makes it out alive with the hunting horse. Sees where Szotyesz is. And Szotyesz is going for loom because he is housed. Will need to rush up a house very, very fast here. With a few villagers. But already has out 2 fishing ships, 3rd one as well just came out, 4th one on the way for Tom. It is just 2 fishing ships with 3rd one on the way. But that is not unexpected for the Huns to be a bit later to all the fishing ships. And I do agree that having the boar here, seeing this boar as well, also going for that one could potentially... No, it's just too late. Wants to go for the gate, but has to be careful. Tried to gate trick it to maybe make it de-aggro. Could not make it work, unfortunately. And behind all of this, Szotyesz needs to know Tom is relatively close, but does not know exactly how close Tom is. And if I was Tom here, I think I would just try to get up to feudal as fast as I can and then just try to get archers on the fields. Although I have to say that basically everything that Szotyesz needs is right here. If he can get up a market like somewhere here in his island, he can get up a blacksmith. Can just click up because Vikings usually just win water. Not always though, but definitely a huge favorite, especially against the Huns, to win the water. As Tom is definitely doing a great job of scouting with the hunting horse, with the transport ship. Also scouted out one of the sides at least. It's going out for some deer as well. Yum yum yum, as Mike says. It was a sick lane from Mike in game number 2. And Frozen laughed when Mike said that. I think we all laughed a bit when we said that. And Szotyesz here clicks up first. And I believe I can do this. And we flip around. So this reflects the player positions a bit better. As Szotyesz is on the right side of our screen. Tom can click up as well. Opts to go for loom first. But I do think that Tom, being up this much later, has 7 fishing ships, could potentially just send a Vil to make a sneak dock somewhere. Keep his fish safe and not contest water too much. So we have some villagers that were stuck in the TC. Tom clicks up, is also getting another boar. Of course, no house tricking with the Huns. But we can do some sick Mike Palisade tricks, as we saw in previous games. And if you look back at the VOD Frozen, it was definitely map hacks for Mike, as Mike's boar was in the back. And TomAquinas here going for some very large walls. course, Szotyesz could always just transport around the walls. As we have a market blacksmith and no war galleys made here from Szotyesz. I think we might see some galleys coming out as soon as Tom is up to the feudal age himself. But not on stone yet for Szotyesz, who clicks up. Bam, there we are. Clicks up to the castle age. It's going for a barracks. Market blacksmith just coming down from Tom. And I have to say, I'm honestly surprised that neither player went for any form of water aggression. Szotyesz does know that there is a dock. And Tom does not see Szotyesz's dock, but as the Vikings you can assume, quite safely I might add, that there will be docks. Now it is going to be a range opening from Szotyesz, and I assume that Tom, as the Huns, is now going for a fire galley, so there is some water. Ooh, just one tile more forward and Tom would have seen the ranges. And Tom chooses to invest more on water and not on land just yet. Of course, does have the walls up here. So does have the relatively safe eco, as Tom scouted that the edge is fully walled now. Potentially, according to Tom's scouting, this could still be open. But the hunting horse currently just chilling. Would love to see it to just be on auto scouts, honestly. And yeah, I am honestly quite surprised that there is 0 stone taken here from Szotyesz, who now sees where Tom's TC is with some villagers. Will run away, will drop the siege workshop. Tom will reach Castle Age. As Tom idles 5 of Szotyesz's 6 fishing ships. As the fires will opt to take out the dock eventually. Crossbow is being researched. No bracer. No bodkin just yet. And Tom still does not see any of this. Oh, that is bad for Tom. That is very, very bad for Tom. Now sees no siege workshop. And what will Tom's reaction be here? As there is a crossbow that made it through. This is not fully walled. Villagers are rushing Szotyesz microwing quite well, and first eco kill of the game goes to Szotyesz as he loses the crossbow. Siege workshop and 1 immediate mangonel for Tom, as the first mangonel is already out for Szotyesz. Tom could also potentially just make a spear and just poke it to death. Does not even need to play siege defense immediately. Of course, there are some crossbows here in the archery range. And with that, a second siege workshop now for Tom. As there is finally some activity on the stone. Dock did eject the fishing ships. The transport ship has moved over. And Tom did send out a Vil over here, potentially to make another dock, but has to invest quite heavily onto wood to defend against the forward aggression here. As that is a 1 mangonel down for Szotyesz. Tom's TC lower than half HP. And Tom misses the villagers. Second mangonel out for Tom. As the mangonel... Ooh, the mangonel for Tom lives. And Will this new mangonel from Szotyesz immediately shoot on Tom's new mangonel? It will, so Tom's mangonel dies. Takes another shot at the TC from Tom. I'm not sure if I like that Tom is actively been repairing his TC, as Szotyesz loses another mangonel. More fishing ships being attacked. Now there are still some fishing ships over here running away, could potentially eventually get a dock up in the back. And Tom needs to be careful to not lose more mangonels, as one of his mangonels is chilling in the back. Could be brought to the front eventually. But very solid fishing eco behind all of this for Tom. As the mangonels are brought forward, mangonel goes down for Tom. Another one goes down for Szotyesz. Tom could garrison to deal with the crossbow. There are some weak vilts here. Crossbow goes down. And there are still some weak vilts here. So Tom will need to be careful there. Tom, don't repair your mango. Garrison your villagers. Tom. Tom! Alright, finally garrisons. Save some villagers. Is repairing. One more mangonel is coming out. Tom loses his mango and Szotyesz is back on the offense. Behind all of this, still only 2 villagers on stone for Szotyesz. As Tom is repairing his mangonel, will still need to deal with all the crossbows as well. As the mangonel from Szotyesz did a great attack ground there. Also shoots right into the mangonel of Tom. This could be dangerous for Tom, but Tom manages to kill the mangonel from Szotyesz instead. And Szotyesz not producing any more villagers here. 0 on food, and Tom is looking in a great position, honestly. It might not look like it, but in terms of eco, will pull ahead. There's 8 villagers in queues. And with that being the hunts, will keep his TC running for quite a while. Will bring more mangonels forward, and I think once this siege workshop here is cleared up, siege workshop even being repaired now, as Szotyesz loses another mangonel, another crossbow, more crossbows go down. The villagers make it out alive at least. I think Tom might want to kill the siege workshop before pushing too far forward with the mangonels. But I would love to see this mangonel working on the siege workshop here as well. As Tom is now going onto stone quite heavily. As Tom loses a mangonel, Szotyesz shoots. Szotyesz does not kill another mangonel. Tom will repair. The mangonels go 1 for 1. No more mangonels in queue for Szotyesz. Cannot afford it because he has too many crossbows in the queue. Crossbows have been very, very annoying from him. But I think with the siege push being dead here, and Tom now finally getting fletching himself, could start to think about adding in these Hunnic Cav Archers. There is another siege workshop coming up for Szotyesz, this time on the right side. And Tom working on the archery ranges to stop. Oh, there was no botkin yet from Szotyesz yet. And Szotyesz is buying food. Did get his fishing ships back to work over here. Tom still has 1 idle villager over here that eventually could make a dock. There is a ram out. But I do think that Tom... Does Tom know about the gold? Tom definitely knows about the gold now that he sees the villagers there. And new mangonel is out. Mangonel wins the fight. And I am honestly surprised that Tom has not added in archery ranges of his own. and instead is opting for men-at-arms. But Tom will take out the archery ranges from Szotyesz, so no more crossbows from Szotyesz just yet. And oh, I do like the castle position, it is great. But with the army here, and with the mangonel still out, this is definitely a position where Tom could throw the game if he goes for it now. Because Tom cannot deal with the crossbows. Tom needs an archery range of his own. And instead, Tom is going for galleys. I think Tom might want to queue some fishing ships instead. And Szotyesz has done a great job of trying to deal with the mangonels. As the mangonel from Szotyesz goes down, of course that happens when I say that. And this castle will go up, and with that castle up, I do think that Szotyesz is in a very, very rough position. Even though from the beginning could have been in a great position, especially with the stone right near his castle, with the faster uptime. And Tom will need to deal with the castle dropped from Pisti, but with the mangonel there, or with, not from Pisti, from Szotyesz, with the castle there, with the mangonels, castle won't go up, and TomAquinas takes game number 1 versus Szotyesz. Now, I did get the Rex from John Perkins from game number 1 and game number 2. But I am not sure about any future Rex, as I have not received more Rex. Quickly hop over the stats. We go back to the map draft. So game 1 was Pilgrims. As we now have a game number 2 played on a Glacis, TomAquinas' home map. So players are free to choose whichever map they play next. And since there is only 5 maps in the tournament, players are free to pick whatever. As Szotyesz here plays in the green as the Burmese, and TomAquinas plays here in the red as the Armenians. And thanks John for at least game number 3. And I would love to receive game number 4 and or 5 eventually. Yeah, if they are played, of course. I know that we are roughly behind. I think that the Mike versus Frozen set ended. Ooh, and this is a very early forward mill from Szotyesz. Even before the lumber camp. So I'm not sure if this is a correct play here. Szotyesz will need to go for straggler trees. As we have a more standard build from Tom, who is just making his mule cart on the wood line. I would love to see some forward dog aggression eventually. But I do think that maybe either Tom or Szotyesz has sent the Rex to you to avoid spoilering me, John. That might be the reason. As there are now 6 villagers forward on the shorefish from Szotyesz. And shorefish, definitely a very solid, very fast food income. Also, wild chickens. As Szotyesz finds out where TomAquinas' TC is, finds out the hard way. With some arrows to the face. And Tom is just scouting, does not see... Oh, no, now he sees. He sees that there is a mill. And with that, I would love to see a forward dock. Maybe not this early, since you cannot really do a lot. Tom sends 2 villagers out to get a boar. We'll send 1 to the wood line instead. But having all these villagers here exposed on the food, on the water, on the shorelines. Massive demo potential. Massive demo potential. Now I could definitely see FC Arambai. Although I am not sure how FC Arambai would deal with the all-in feudal longswords from Armenians. I just think the timing difference there could be an issue. As Tom currently 6 on wood, so definitely wants to add in some fishing ships as well, as the first fishing ship is already being produced. And I do think it is going to be a lot of swords for Tom. And for Szotyesz, I am not sure. I think this food eco here, definitely very solid. And definitely pulling ahead in terms of resources collected here. And that is without the boar. As there are still 2 boars for Szotyesz to be taken as he takes his first boar. And Tom did take both of his boars, as I cannot see the second boar. It's not hiding behind anywhere. And now more pokies from Szotyesz and TomAquinas' scouts. But Tom, a bit wiser than maybe Szotyesz, and does not want to run in under the TC. As Tom will click up to the feudal age here. Will get loom. And Szotyesz chooses to hang around in the Dark Age a bit longer. Does see his boar. Will send 2 villagers out. Will send 1 villager out. And with Tom's scout. Ooh, this could be dangerous if Tom does a loop. Tom will spot the vill. Ooh, Tom can block. Don't think that Tom can kill the villager here. But can definitely be annoying. If Tom was maybe 2 seconds earlier there, he could have blocked the villager. And maybe could have gotten a kill. Now, scout HP still in favor of Tom. And Tom, barracks on the front. Love to see it. No militia out just yet though. That is something that I would love to see. I would also love to see Tom on the gold. And also maybe move his mule cart to a bit more of an efficient spot here. As there is a mining camp on the stone, and it definitely looks like it's going to be FC Arambai from Szotyesz, who is still bringing in a lot of the free food over here. For Tom, another mule cart coming up on the gold this time. Archery range? That is not a sword unit. Tom, what are you doing? Market blacksmith on the sides. And with that, could potentially wall off to the edge of the map. Cannot wall off to the stone wall. There is unwallable terrain. It is better to spot on this side. As we also see a sneak dock coming up from Tom. Would love to see that. 1 demo in the queue. Would love to see a demo on this side as well. But as I was talking about unwallable, game number 1, Chipmunk, was Huns versus the Vikings on Pilgrims, where TomAquinas won as the Huns. But they did this single line right here that is unwallable. You cannot build on that, and so this could potentially be walled off to the edge, could not be walled to the walls. As we now have 12 villagers on stone. Tom is a double demo. But no more villagers forward for Szotyesz, as he still has some food under his TC. And with the Burmese getting the free wood upgrade as well, could eventually just start dropping down some farms. Love to see that Tom is just chilling here, but I think Tom just a bit too slow to recognize the FC maybe. Has not seen that Szotyesz was on stone. Did not see the market blacksmith. Has not seen a barracks either. Could maybe be a bit more active with the scouting. And from Szotyesz now reaching the castle age. Tom's resources though looking relatively healthy to get to the castle age himself. And a very defensive castle here from Szotyesz, but will defend the gold, will defend the wood line, especially if he goes for the back wood lines later on. And I assume Arambai will start pumping out relatively shortly. Scout will find Tom's forward villager. Tom will fight back. Wolf in the mix as well from in favor of Szotyesz. So Tom will lose the forward villager. Scout will escape with 11 HP. And the demo here still chilling in front. As Tom will market blacksmith himself. Will need to start walling off a bit as well. I'm not sure if having villagers out front here is the best choice, although it is the best choice to get food that you need to click up to the next age, as we see Arambai being massed in the castle. Tom, 2.5 minutes away from clicking up to the castle age, finds out that there is a castle the hard way by running his scout right into the castle fire. And Tom will get fletching for his archers, will continue to amass the archers. And ranged units are definitely the best option here against the Arambai. As long as you can keep your distance. Definitely in a good position to deal with the Arambai. But the villagers and the fishing ships as well need to run from the Arambai, as we likely see one villager go down here, as the Arambai will miss all of their shots. Classic Arambai. And Tom will need to remember that he needs to make houses. Will do so. And could just run his mule cart to other woodlines as woodlines are being harassed. So that is very nice. Fishing ships will go down. This villager will go down as well. There we go. Finally, Arambai finally decide to hit something. And Tom does not have the gold to... And as he's making a trade cock, that is definitely a misclick, as the trade cock will fall. That is a demo. That is more like it. I don't think demos will do a lot here in favor of Tom, since the Arambai are already on his mainland. And I think if Szotyesz can keep Tom off of the golds and keep maybe a few Arambai on critical spots like this one right here, like does see the mills, does see the chicken run, does see the villagers walk here as well, does need to be careful about the demo. But I think this might be a GG. Crossbows are on the way, so could potentially deal with the Arambai. As the eco is actually relatively even, Szotyesz has still 0 on food, is all in on the Arambai. And as long as the Arambai stand still and not miss anything, or not hit their shots, Tom definitely has a chance with the crossbow. But not having anything on gold for Tom, not having a lot of army here, getting his food eco slaughtered. It is starting to look worse and worse for Tom. He is now selling food to get gold to get more crossbow. And right as Tom finishes off one group of Arambai, the next group of Arambai does show up. And will snipe one villager, will snipe 2 villagers, and potentially just snipes the entire group of villagers here. Maybe not all of them, but definitely 14-0 eco KD does not feel good for Tom. I mean, in this game, not having food eco means you can get Arambai out on the field. And as long as you can kill villagers, on average you need to kill 1 villager every 30 seconds to be ahead, still. And so far, with 15 eco kills for Szotyesz, he has been doing that. And the Arambai, of course, also just are a lot more mobile. And it is a shame that Szotyesz did not spot these villagers running away. But Tom going out for a very sneaky gold, so that he does not have to sell a lot for the crossbows anymore. But I think that might be too late, as Tom calls the GG and Szotyesz evens out the series 1-1. So there will definitely be a game number 4. As Szotyesz plays the Burmese FC into GG from Tom. As I will get game number 3 into the correct folder here. And the next game will be on Tom's home map as well. So no more home maps left from Tom after this game, as we have Tom playing in the red as the Tupi. And I assume we will see a lot of champies in the future. And for Szotyesz, we will have the Romans. So I assume we will see militia for or men-at-arms from Szotyesz in the feudal age. I would love to see some laming as well, but so far Tom is just scouting very far forward, I might add, with the champy. Might want to pick up his sheep first. Has a backbore for Tom and a backbore for Szotyesz as well, and I think Frozen might have loved this map gen in his set versus Mike, where his boar was quite forward. As Szotyesz is already pushing in his deer. And Tom, having the Tupi, can just make a settlement right here. Does not need to worry about pushing it in, because the settlement can be used for both collecting wood and food from the deer as well. So it is a bit more work for Szotyesz to get all these deer under the TC, as he still has some sheep that he does see that Tom could potentially just get. Sheep are right there, but Tom is just roaming around the front of his base. And on this map, there's only one boar. So having all your ibex meat taken is definitely very important. But so far, neither player is going for lanes. As the boar is being brought in by Szotyesz now as well. Very solid. Sheeps in the meantime have been taken. Still some sheep out in front for Szotyesz, and he does not see them. So Tom could definitely find them eventually, but is opting to go for the... I'm scouting the outer edge of the map to figure out where the wood line is. As Szotyesz was shortly housed, is forced to pick up loom. Not the worst, but maybe not something you would like to do this early on. As more villagers are coming to the ibex hunt for Tom, and Tom is stuck here with his champy. Loses champy. That is horrible for Tom, who is now going on to gold as well. No barracks just yet. And loom now as well for Tom, and I think Tom might be looking at a very fast uptime here. Will force drop, will be able to click up if he... Yes, there we go. Tom clicks up to the feudal age. And Tom sends more villagers onto wood. Does want to get his barracks up relatively fast, I think. And then from there, I think we will see a whole lot of champies on the field for Tom. And Mike in chat saying, whoa, no champ spam yet. But you did it to your friend Mike. Oh, Mike definitely still heard about the champy rush from Tom. And Tom is also walling off his wood line. But behind all of this, Szotyesz still has not clicked yet. Will click up at 23 villagers. Although I doubt that this time Szotyesz can FC from the position that he is in. There is an archery range, there is a house for Tom, and it is going to be archers, no champies. And Mike saying he had the barracks before any other building, and I remember that game. That was definitely one of the games of all time from Tom. Very aggressive, very aggressive. This time though, Tom not as aggressive. Still some ibexes left to take from Szotyesz as well, who is now going out to gold as well. Recognizes that since it is a meso matchup, it is likely going to be archers, which it is. And I think if Tom goes for 2 or 3 archers, maybe drops the blacksmith right after, as Tom also drops a defensive tower on his wood line, can start to move out the archers. That's, I think the earlier you move out, the more damage you can do. And potentially force up a tower on the gold and then move on to the wood line. As Szotyesz now sees it is going to be archers, and Tom does move forward with just 2 archers. Now there is no hunt or no wildlife on this map. There is hunt. Tom knows where the wood line is. And like I said, I would love to see a blacksmith. Great that there is farms being added, but a blacksmith and fletching would go very hard for Tom. As we see militia being queued up for Szotyesz, who is preemptively making a tower on his wood line, which will mean that if Tom finds out where the gold is, which he now finds, the gold will be denied, at least momentarily, until the man-at-arms upgrade is in, until the skill mill armor is in. And that is exactly the reason why I think that blacksmith from Tom is important. As there is a tower up as well on Szotyesz's wood line. So Tom will need to back off. Will shoot the ibex. So later on, not an easy source of food. Tom will look around, will try to find maybe extra wood lines. There are 0, just this one. All the berries were taken. And Szotyesz now making a range is on the gold on the right side. And Tom will need to micro here. Fletching just came in. But 5 men-at-arms with the armor from the Romans. Remember, Roman armor does double. As Tom kills 1 villager, kills 2 villagers. No, kills just 1 villager. Could potentially kill this one, but did not see it. Will need to defend at home from the 5 men-at-arms. Maybe a second range. Just a second range defend at home and keep these guys forward. Keep denying the gold. Very nice. But of course, Szotyesz is on the other gold as well. And Tom will need to run away from his gold as the men-at-arms will not need to run away. We'll just garrison in the settlement. Remembers that settlement garrisoning is a thing. We'll bring home all of the archers. Like I said, maybe a second range and then just defend with your new troops might have been the better solution here. As there are now skirms out, or not out, but in the archery range. And there's the market. And Tom, 14 farms versus the 8 farms from Szotyesz. So Tom with the better food eco as the archer player. But Tom still needs to deal with the Roman man-at-arms. Needs to be careful to not lose his farms. Will lose both of his farms. That is a bit sloppy from Tom. That is 120 wood down the drain for nothing. As the men-at-arms will try to go for the lumber camp again, are once again faced by the tower. This time though, farm from Tom will go up. And I think Tom can just force drop some food and click up to the next age. Szotyesz, quite far behind, is not on gold anymore. What happened there? Did he just send everyone onto farms? 16 farms though, very nice. As we have the castle age clicked from Tom. As horse collar comes in from Szotyesz. And I have to say it is quite good from Szotyesz that these 5 men-at-arms have been causing so much trouble from Tom. As Szotyesz will pick up a wheelbarrow and I think will try to click up to the next stage afterwards. As Tom still chasing the men-at-arms, still making more archers. Did end up adding that second range. As there is now only 2 men-at-arms left. As Tom splits up some of his units. These 2 men-at-arms won't do too much damage anymore. And Tom still with an untaken set of berries at home. As Szotyesz will now build the market, but clicks up to the Castle H without it. And Tom chasing with one set, 4 archers. Maybe 1 villager as well. And Tom reaches the Castle H, immediately goes for Botkin, does not have the gold for crossbow. Men-at-Arms still running around. Horse collar coming in, crossbow now coming in as well. Opens with a siege workshop in the middle. Could potentially go for a monastery next and try to grab the relics. Would love to see the monastery a bit more back in that case. As the men-at-arms still being chased. Villagers could fight this off, could also just hop in. There was a Weakville, the Weakville will live. And farms from Tom start to expire. Now, will Tom reseed that, or will Tom just send these villagers to other resources instead? And villagers are moving somewhat forward, backwards. Monastery. 3, 2, 1. Bam. No, it was the bam for the mangonel instead. As it is a lot of skirms here for Szotyesz. And finally, monastery comes up. Szotyesz also getting Town Watch, is going for a siege workshop himself, but very far backwards. Tom needs to be careful to not hit his own crossbows, as it is going to be Elite Skirm and Botkin. Elite Skirm is probably coming in. Maybe with a second mangonel, Elite Skirm could be denied. And Tom chooses to walk away with the crossbows, which means Elite Skirm will definitely come in. 7 Elite Skirms will get the armor as well. No armor for Tom. So these crossbows will definitely feel that once the Elite Skirms here hop out. And the mangonel as well. And no sight yet on the monastery from Szotyesz, as Tom will need to maneuver around the mangonel shots. Very nice split there. As the mangonel less than half HP. Archery range did eject the skirms. But with that, mangonel also not attacking the archery range anymore, as it will go after the skirms. And I definitely expected the Romans to just stay on infantry here. Instead, we see Roman skirms, scorpions for the Romans as well. Not the worst choice, but with the mangonels already being out, might be a bit difficult to deal with. And with the monk bringing in the final relic as well, we will see if the players use the correct lobby settings and used standard victory. And relic is in, and the relic timer did start, so players use the correct lobby settings. Mangonel misses, so 1 mangonel, and once again we have a mangonel fight here. We had a mangonel war in game number 1, and this time looks like it is going to be in favor of Szotyesz, as the monk takes bolts from the scorpions to the face. And Tom is definitely forced to move backwards with their crossbows, as the scorpions move forward. But crossbows do take out the mangonel. Scorpion being repaired by a villager who takes some stones to the face. No ballistics just yet for Tom. No ballistics for Szotyesz either, as Tom tries to deny the siege workshop. Could definitely deny it, especially with the crossbows there. And Tom built a very solid eco lead as he added in a TC in the back as well on the wood line. Forward Siege Workshop denied at 99.56%. And I would love to see a castle as well. We do have 9 villagers on stone for Tom, who was a bit too overconfident with the crossbows forward. Loses quite a bit of them. Still some skirmishers chilling in the back for Szotyesz, who deletes the 99% completed Siege Workshop. We'll get some wood, although I think at that point might have been only 2 wood. We'll try again a bit further back this time. Already 40 years have passed, so Tom in a very solid position to win this game. You can see the resources collected definitely in favor of Tom. Already 700 gold from just the relics. Tom will need to be careful. Will need to be careful about the Siege Workshop that has a mangonel on the way. Siege Workshop in the back has a mangonel on the way as well. So has a scorpion and then another mangonel. And 2 mangonels working away at the TC, 2 mangonels working away at the Siege Workshop. And Tom is currently just buying some stone, dropping a very forward castle, but with double Siege Workshop could be a bit dangerous if he isn't paying attention, as mangonels are traded and suddenly there's only 1 mangonel for Tom. And here we have them finally on the field. Roman longswords, 2nd armor did come in as well. Scorpions behind. How good is Tom's micro here? Can he micro the mangonel against the scorpions? Looks like the answer is yes. We'll also need to be careful that the mangonel does not shoot the castle foundation. But this castle will not be shot by at least Tom's mangonel and kill it. As mangonel for Szotyesz goes down, and I think the castle will go up. I think there is enough archers here for Tom. And I think Tom... although, that being said, big mango shot on the villagers. Another big shot on the villagers. Another... is Szotyesz pulling this back? Is Szotyesz pulling this back? Tom is forcing up the castle. Castle is at 92%. Currently, 2 villagers building it. Could definitely be denied by the skirms. Castle goes up. Castle goes up. And I think that will be a GG relatively soon from Szotyesz, who is starting to lose his TC, and Tom markets his way into clicking up to the Imperial Age behind all of this. Untouched at home. 100 years on the countdown from the relics. And here we see Imperial Age coming in the back TC from Tom, who still has his berries. Berries apparently not that important in a game of Crater for Tom, who will leave with his mangonels. I'm not sure why the mangonels will retrieve home. Probably because Tom definitely expects something to happen around the monastery. And Szotyesz, who did build another TC on his wood line. Still relatively close in terms of eco, as Tom this time is idling his TC. And Szotyesz trying to put on outposts. Tom, who still does not have the archer armor, chooses to engage with the skirms, but definitely has the archer numbers. As there currently are 30 archers here for Tom against 3 skirmishers. But with the 2 mangonels from Szotyesz, as I click them, I have no clue where they are. There is one. The other one is looping around, trying to be sneaky. University coming up, probably for ballistics, could also be for chemistry. Tom losing some archers here to the skirms quite carelessly, actually. As ballistics comes in, Imperial Age comes in, and I think with Imperial Age we might see the GG. No GG, we play on. Now remember, Szotyesz has 66 years to make something happen here. Unless, of course, Tom chooses to eject the relics, as Tom goes for ARP, Tom goes for Bracer, and there is no ballistics just yet for, or not ballistics, chemistry. But Szotyesz, being very heavy on stone here, might choose to try to castle drop. As we see some very nice splits. Still some ARPs taking rocks to the face. There is enough stone here for Szotyesz, who has an outpost, can see all of the ARPs. So definitely knows that castle dropping might not work, and Szotyesz taps out, and Tom takes game number 3 here. And I agree with Mike that he should have GG'd at 69 years left instead of 50 years left. As we quickly go over the statistics here. To head back to the map draft so I can figure out what game number 4 is. Yes, I did receive game number 4 from John Perkins. Thank you very much. Right, game number 4 is in the correct folder. And Tom could take it all here, could go over to the semi-finals here. Yes, and let's see. If we go over to the playoff standings here. As if Tom wins one more game, he will face off against Pisti in the semifinals. And if Szotyesz wins this game and the next one, then he has a chance against Pisti in the semifinals. But for now, we are in game number 4. TomAquinas playing as the Magyars on Northern Crossings, and Szotyesz playing as the Muisca. And we might see a Champi rush here instead. Let's see what the game plan is here from both players. And Frozen saying we can't all be man of culture all the time. We cannot, but we can try. Szotyesz brings in his first boar. And so did Tom. Tom also brought in his first boar. He's scouting around, did a loop-de-loop with his transport ship. And Szotyesz also using his transport ship. His transport ship scouted the front here. Or at least the middle parts. As there is now a lumber camp coming up from Tom. And a barracks. Barracks at home from Szotyesz. And with the transport ship could transport over the Champies. I assume that this is going to be a full Champi rush from Szotyesz. And Tom bringing in his second boar, bringing in some of his sheep. Did find all of his sheep, right? Yes. Will now start to push in some deer, as we indeed see the Champies being produced. Now what I would have loved to see is have this villager that built the barracks just transport her over, build the barracks forward. Because now there's just so much travel time for these champions. Although, these champions could still be transported over themselves as well. And Tom has not a care in the world. Tom just pushing in his deer. 4 villagers on wood. Wants to go for a dock, preferably on the backside for Tom, who does not see a dock up yet from Szotyesz, but the dock, of course, could also be at the front. So Tom just looping with his transport ship. Pushing in more deer. But I'm surprised that we don't see a villager to go out for a dock just yet for Tom. And here come the champi. The champi are on the field. And here we come. We do spot a villager. Tom reacts. No loom in for Tom. Tom goes for a mill instead of a dock. And the champi are running around. Did not find the wood line just yet. Did realize where the TC was, and Tom instantly goes for small walls around his wood line. Tom will delete the mill. No mill for Tom. No house for Tom either. Tom, can he click up? As Tom loses a villager here. Loses his sheep as well to a wild champi that runs. Just snipes. But, oh, this could be a trap. This is... No, no trap for Tom. And Tom will lose another villager here. Nice blocking. And that is already 2 villagers down from Tom. As Tom is forced to... Tom did go out for a dock. Tom did make a fishing ship. Tom will need to wall in this villager. But I think this might be a bit of unwallable terrain here. Which is very unfortunate for Tom. Tom can click up to the next stage. Is currently idling his TC. A lot of pressure. And the champions did see the dock. Will spot the villager. And that is another villager going down from Tom. Very, very unfortunate this for Tom. As Tom clicks up to the feudal age, and Szotyesz nowhere near clicking up. But I think did do a lot of damage. Tom will wall off the berries at least. Has still 3 villagers safely on the wood line. Can potentially take some of the food from the sheep. Will also wall off on the other side. And I think has somewhat recovered slightly. Currently though, only 1 fishing ship. And the dock will definitely go down if the champions are just there attacking it. Currently already below half HP on the dock. And behind all of this, Szotyesz is just expanding his eco, started to get onto gold, is adding in some farms. Has not added in a dock yet. Oh no, but there it is. Dock coming up. I think it was very, very unfortunate that it was some unwallable terrain. And the resources for Szotyesz definitely looking good, but Tom reaches the feudal age. Does not have a barracks just yet. Will go for a market blacksmith combo. Trying to fast castle this. Will not have the resources. Only 18 villagers for Tom. And behind this, Szotyesz did click up to the feudal age himself. Is adding in some fishing ships and will have a very solid eco coming into the feudal age. Could potentially try to beat Tom to the castle age to force a game number 5. As the dock for Tom does go down, Tom does not have a lot of wood. Champions are running through. There is a hole. The hole is walled. But Only 3 villagers inside of the TC. Champions are not too scared of that. One goes down though. Yes, the Champions did spot the market blacksmith from Tom. Although Tom has not used either of them. And has no military out on the field besides his scouts. And the transport ship being counted as a military unit as well by Capture H. As the Champions are trying to break in once again on the wood line, villagers will repair. Feudal Age reached for Szotyesz, who still is hunting some deer, who is now adding in a market blacksmith of his own. And his resources to reach the Castle Age are looking very, very solid. More repairs are being done. I would love to see market, or not, between the market blacksmith there is now a barracks. There is a stable coming up from Tom, who is finally adding in some farms. No horse collar, no double bit. And Szotyesz can click up to the next age. Think will do so after. Yes, there we go. Has clicked up. And the Muisca, do they get arson? They don't. Do not get arson. I would love to see arson, but they don't get it. And outposts are being built by the Champions. So we'll have some vision here. As Szotyesz now sees the scouts. And scouts will need to be careful. But there is no upgrades on the Champions just yet. And for Tom, of course, does get the attack bonus for free. But I do think that once Tom sees the Castle Age from Szotyesz, that he might call the GG, as Szotyesz does the loop with the transport ship, does not see a dock. As more outposts are coming up, Tom's transport ship will move away. And I would also like to see Town Watch once the Castle Age is researched or reached, and that is exactly what we have next. And with that, Szotyesz could see Tom's entire eco, or at least the front of his base. Although the scouts did take out some of the outposts. Another dock is coming up here for Tom, who still has not clicked, and Szotyesz now will reach the Castle Age. Will there be Temple Guards? Is this the Temple Guard Civ? Is this the Temple Guard Civ? It is the Temple Guard Civ. And I have to agree that I don't like the FC attempt from Tom either. Although he's doing relatively okay here with the scouts. Still 3 Champions out here. Once again, a villager on the dock that might go down, although this time the villager is actually running away. And with the garrisoning of the villager will survive. And Tom, not on gold yet. With the Champions running around, so much has happened. Only still on 1 TC for Szotyesz. Eco actually equal, although Szotyesz is of course up 1 H. And whenever Tom will go to the next age, the eco numbers will start to be in favor of Szotyesz more and more. As we have 1 monk here in the queue, and afterwards we will have Temple Guards as Tom clicks up to the next age. We have 1 mangonel, of course. If that hops out, could get sniped by the scouts. But I think 1 or 2 Temple Guards should be enough here to deal with the scouts, especially since Bloodlines is lacking here. As Tom, second stable, goes for a mining camp. But has to deal with all the aggression in his face. Also will need another house eventually, as we see bloodlines on the way. 2 mangonels now from Szotyesz. We have seen so much siege from Szotyesz this game, or this set. TomAquinas as well. More monasteries, more temple guards. And I do think that 3, maybe 4 temple guards against feudal age scouts would be enough. 3 mangonels could pop out and start harassing the gold before Tom even reaches the castle age. Try to get something as an answer here. And Tom forced off the wood line. As 1 villager dies. And still no loom from Tom. That is very, very greedy. Maybe he just forgot. As we have light cav on the way, we have 1 monastery, double monastery on the way from Tom. And a very nice attack round there. Maybe a bit too deep of a dive for the mangonels, but positioning from Tom with the scouts. Looking quite solid. Trying to take out, trying to find an angle, but Szotyesz was in a relatively good position, I think. Just trying to patrol the temple guards in front of the mangonel. Currently only 1 mangonel. Tom could just delete the house and get the good angle. But has enough scouts to deal with all the mangonels. Don't think he has enough scouts to deal with the temple guards. Temple guards are an insanely strong unit. And Monk trying to convert scouts, almost never a good idea. Not a lot of temple guards around, but temple guards on the gold here for Tom, who still does not have loom. And they deal enough damage to take out villagers in 3 hits. Especially if they are unloomed. And in terms of army numbers, might seem very solid for Tom. In terms of eco though, not looking too great. Behind all of this, only want to see from Szotyesz. Would love to see either some more eco being added, although the eco KD is 14-0 in favor of Szotyesz. As Tom, still no loom. And this might not be the flex that Tom wanted. Not getting loom here. As there is now a monk out. Monk tries to convert. But I do think that Szotyesz is in a very solid position to force a game number 5. If he chooses to fight with his temple guards. You can see that definitely deal quite a punch. But these temple guards will need to once again play mango defense. And with only 4 temple guards and 4 mangoes, more mangoes in queue than temple guards. As Tom currently on 23 villagers. 23 villagers without loom, I might add. Szotyesz sold 1000 wood. Could potentially buy some food to keep Vil production going, to keep Temple Guard production going. But is instead opting to put all of that in more mangonels to keep the siege going. As the Temple Guards will deal with the scouts from Tom as the Tom TC goes down. The Szotyesz mangonels go down as well. I think these are on stand ground, and in that case they will attack the farm that they are standing on. But this time solid engagement, will take down the house, might be converted. Double conversion, 1 conversion, double conversion. 2 temple guards go down, but Tom is currently no TC gaming, is making a TC in the back, trying to make something happen, while the siege at the front is still going on. Love to see it, that Tom is definitely still playing on, still fighting, still thinking that he has a chance, especially since he is up 2-1. But I do think that for Szotyesz, he needs either more temple guards added, or he just needs to click up. Once again, Szotyesz not making a lot of more villagers. Trying to micro his mangonels. As Tom is trying to get a reboom going. Could potentially take some of these Ibex as well, right next to the TC. As the stable now is being taken out. Nothing being produced out of the stable either from Tom. As there are now forward villagers repairing some of the weak mangonels. Could potentially see a monk grabbing some relics as well. As the relics in Szotyesz's main base are still untouched. As the blacksmith is now the next target for all these mangonels. Blacksmith and the barracks. As Szotyesz is wisely attack grounding between them. Szotyesz finally gets horse collar. We'll get a bit of extra food from on all the farms that are already placed. For anyone who hasn't yet, you can check out the new Spirit of the Law video, where he explains a bit more in depth how the new patch affected the farm upgrades in terms of getting extra food on them. As Tom is now going for fervor. Tom does not have redemption, I believe. No redemption and no atonement for the Magyars. As Tom's monasteries, Tom's market are now the next targets. Tom also housed after the houses were taken down by the mangonels. But still only a 14 eco difference. It's not that big, I might say. Still, Ibexes untaken here. Tom is though freely allowed to fish. And Szotyesz did add in a few demos of his own in case anything from Tom shows up. As Tom is now adding in another siege workshop. And with some good attack rounds could potentially make something happen. Although it is now 8 temple guards out on the field. Tom did pick up the relic. We'll need a new monastery. As he just decides, I will drop the relic. Relic is not important. I don't have a monastery yet. Szotyesz clicks up to Imperial Age. Szotyesz is up, and with that, I think we might maybe see a switch into more champions with a new monastery. Szotyesz potentially spotted the mangonels. Maybe taking a bit too much time here, taking out all the buildings from Tom. As the eco is starting to bounce back for Tom. As we once again, for third game this set, have mangonel on mangonel action. Tom though is a mega housed. It's currently at 47 out of 25 pop. It's forced to make more than these houses. As more houses here go down as well. Farms that were once Tom's are now Szotyesz's property. And mangonels will run forward. As the villager this time will make outposts. Once again, the dock is being discovered. The temple guards will take it out. Mangonels might as well. And I have to say, Szotyesz is doing a great job with these mangonels to not attack his own units. And I do agree with Mike, I think it might be imp into GG here. And Imperial Age is reached. And there is the GG, well played from Tom. So Szotyesz does even it up. Score is 2-2. As we go into the statistics. And there is one game, one map left to play. And we do have game 5 hype. I will quickly download that rack. Game number 5. It is finished. I assume both players might be in chat as well. Please, no spoilers. As I get game number 5 here loaded up. As we are on TomAquinas. Now, both players also only have 5 civs, so they play with their last civ left. And without further ado, let's hop into game number 5. TomAquinas. As we are starting game number 5, I will quickly explain the map for anyone who doesn't know. Defend the wonder, says it here as well. If players lose this wonder, they will die. And we have seen a lot of rushes this tournament. Now, earlier in the tournament, we did see Szotyesz with the Muisca on this map with an insane fast castle build. Given that he has no Muisca left to play, we have the Malay from Szotyesz. TomAquinas, though, is playing as the Khitans. Game number 5. Hype is real. Tom does not lose the villager to the boar. But can we see another fast castle play from the Malay? Will we see a feudal boom? And welcome in, Szotyesz. Regardless of the result, I think you played really well this tournament. As we have 6 on food for Szotyesz, who will lumber camp his starting area, and for Tom, lumber camping his starting area as well. Has scouted out the middle quite a bit, is still missing some of his sheep here. We'll find them if he loops around the back here. As Tom is going for a second boar. And no second boar taken just yet from Szotyesz, who might be going out for the deer in the defend the wonder area. And Tom saying it was a very fun set. It definitely was a very fun set to cast, at least so far. I'm very curious to see what the strategy for both players in this game will be. As I think both civs can have some very fun strats they could go for. I think Malay could pull off a very nice feudal boom with a fast uptime, trying to get a bit of better eco into maybe some castle age shenanigans with the Malay Karambits. I had Arambai in my head, but that was a previous game. As Szotyesz will notice that Tom is going out for the deer in the defend the wonder area. But so is Szotyesz. Szotyesz is also there on the deer. There is roughly 1000 food to take here on these deer, so definitely worth to take it. Tom Scout currently doing a loop-de-loop around the back of Szotyesz's base. Doesn't really find a lot there. I think most of the cows have been taken, if not all of them. We can quickly check by just seeing the Gaia vision. And not seeing anything there. All the cows have been found. And Tom, as the Ketons, is getting loom here. And might just force drop and click up. And try to do a feudal boom of his own. Now I don't think feudal age has a lot of value here in terms of early aggression. But getting up fast, especially as the Ketons with the pastures could provide some value, as one villager very stubbornly decides to walk around the whole wall to try to get some wood. I think this might be a bit too overcrowded for one wood line. And Tom sends this villager to a straggler instead. And Malay going out for gold, so looking more at a fast castle type build. Now with the Malay, I never know when to click up with the timing, with the faster up times. When I should click up so that I have the rest to do something. As we see the first pasture for Tom coming up before he reaches the feudal age on 19 pop. It's going out for a house as well, could mill these berries. Is going for a barracks. Is going out for a barracks. What will we do with a barracks in the feudal age? Tom, what is the plan here? What are we doing? Stable. Are we just scout rushing these walls? Are we really scout rushing the walls? I mean, it might work. It might actually work with the Ketons, with the extra attack. The extra attack. Ketons get +1 extra attack when they research the attack upgrade. Could definitely make something happen. Especially since Szotyesz is not really prepared. Szotyesz though will reach the feudal age before the attack comes in. Scouts are being produced. One scout in the stable, second scout on the way. Pastures still being produced. And Szotyesz, as he reaches the feudal age, will drop a market blacksmith. Tom will scout around the Szotyesz wonder area. More scouts on the way. Scouts just passing. Not sure if Szotyesz noticed. Szotyesz cannot see Tom's scouting party here. But with a little bit of market abuse, Szotyesz clicks up to the castle age. And Tom not really finding a lot of value with these scouts. Currently just patrolling, standing them in the middle, trying to find some value with them. Is now going for foraging. Will also need a house. Will find Szotyesz's scouts. Szotyesz does not see the other scouts. Might have spotted that there were multiple scouts around though, as Tom is still making more scouts. I think Tom might be fully expecting a fort here from Szotyesz. Szotyesz though is just chilling at home. Does not send out any villagers. And missed the fish in the east. With the green it is also very hard to spot. Tom still looping around. is taking maybe not the greatest fight, but with the forging upgrade deals with the scout from Szotyesz. Anyways, Szotyesz though still at home is now adding in a barracks, could start producing some spearmen, and he does. And there only 2 deer left, one which is almost finished. Tom still hanging around in the feudal age, but has a very solid pasture eco. Might want to go for domestication as well. And I think this might be the point where Tom says, I have had enough with the scouts, I will go on to gold, try to get up to the castle age as well. And Szotyesz not really doing anything with the castle age timing, I think. He is expanding his eco quite nicely though. And is trying to attack the gate over here. Gates in the castle age have quite a bit more HP than in the feudal age. And with scouts, as we can see, not doing a lot of damage. And with the pointy boys around here from Szotyesz, Tom needs to run away and does. And that is going to be a monastery in the middle from Szotyesz, but ooh, the scouts cannot see that. If it went up, scouts could not see that. Yeah, scouts deal or try to deal with the pointy boys, but are forced to run away. Tom clicks up to the castle age. Monastery, villager, quick walled, and Tom does not see it. Ooh. Tom so close. Tom does now see the foundation. But, like I said, villager is walled. Villager will finish the walls, so monastery will go up. Scouts still being around. But scouts versus the halberdiers, it's not the greatest fights for the scouts. They are, of course, missing bloodlines. And siege workshop as well, in the middle from Szotyesz. Now, will the halberdiers and the siege be enough to stop Tom from pushing in with scouts? I think the light cav upgrade from Tom definitely worth it in this position. But Tetons, of course, also get heavy cav archer in castle age, so definitely worth it to maybe make the cav archer switch instead of staying on cavalry if you see that your opponent is this heavily invested in pointy boys. As the 3 relics in the middle are being collected by Szotyesz, could potentially bring home the 4th one. The 5th one over here, probably not this game. As we now see another siege workshop, so once again it is going to be Mangonel versus Mangonel, probably. Tom did not see that there was a siege workshop, and Szotyesz made a scorpion to begin with. Resource wise, looking very nice on gold, to be expected with the relics, although so far only 100 relic gold collected, as there is one monk which is escorted by one of the pointy boys trying to bring in the relic at home. For Tom, light cav upgrade did come in. Scorpion chilling in the siege workshop. And scorpions from Tom as well. So maybe I was wrong, maybe it's going to be scorpion on scorpion instead of scorpion on mangonel. But behind all of this, Szotyesz actually clicks up to the Imperial Age. Not a lot of investment from him military-wise, as the pointy boys are being harassed by the scorpions. Villagers in the middle are definitely in danger of being taken out by the scouts if they don't run away, but they run away. 1 scorpion, 1 soul scorpion in the siege workshop here. And these light cav, especially with Iron casting now in. Could definitely start taking the fights if it is just one pikeman. But 30 seconds away from Imperial Age is Szotyesz. What will Szotyesz do? And as I say, what will Szotyesz do? Szotyesz will wall off a piece of land. Will drop a sneaky castle in the back. And will presumably just trap down Tom's wonder. And Tom has zero clue that any of this is happening. And the one scorpion hops out, gets taken down. Tom did bring a ram as well, will take out the monastery. Now the monk with the relic. Where is the monk? Monk chilling with the relic at home, did not bother to bring it to the monastery. But I think once this castle goes up, and Szotyesz, even with the TC here, really Szotyesz, are you really just TCing there? But I think once the castle is up and one trap is out, I don't know what Tom can do. He is not on stone. And I do believe you also need stone to repair the wonder. But he can also just not get any petards out. He does of course have the ram. Ram would need to move very fast, and as I say that, there is a second layer of walls coming up, a siege workshop as well, this time presumably for a mangonel to defend from any ram push. And I think might just want to attack immediately here. You don't want to wait, you just want to attack. And as I say that, the first trebuchet is out and will start trapping Tom's wonder. And with that, I think Tom might realize he has been baited. Does try to run. And Tom will see the castle, will see the trebuchet. Cannot repair, like I said, will need stone for that as well. Second trap now out as well. And Tom will see the walls, realize there is no way I am getting there in time. Buying more wood. Buying more stone. Tom can repair. The siege is rolling forward, but there is of course one mangonel. And against 3 trebuchets, I don't think Tom can keep repairing this. As the scorpions go down, the ram will fall to the mangonel. Tom's wonder will fall against the trebuchets, and so will his hopes on the tournament. And I do agree with Hester saying that Szotyesz had his eyes on the prize. Killing the wonder. GG, well played. Good luck next from Tom. Well played indeed from Szotyesz. The scouts here not really paying off for Tom. And Szotyesz takes game number 5. Very, very well played. Very entertaining sets. Lots of mangonel fights. Love to see it. Would love to see that in the next set as well from Szotyesz. And I will head over to the playoff standings. I will submit the form later. But Szotyesz is up against Pisty for the semifinals, and Mike is up against Geology Wade. Both Pisty and Geology Wade got a bye because they won their sets. And with that, that is all we have for today. And I definitely did not expect the Muisca on Northern Crossings. From Tom, I don't know if you were around already, but the FC attempt, I did not like it. Chat also did not really like it. I think if you went for scouts, maybe could have been a lot better. Maybe would have helped with the defense. But definitely very well played from both players here. With that being said, let me find someone who is live. I believe T West was live earlier. Might not be live right now. But there is some other one going on who is playing Michi versus Frost. But it's not playing, but is casting Frost, so it's Deathmatch Michi. Definitely some interesting sets, some interesting games. So I will send you guys over to other one. I will be back later. I don't know when. On Sunday I might not be around. Let's see when the players schedule their sets. And we will figure out when we are live from there. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a very wonderful weekend. Hope to see you soon. And goodbye.